This is unacceptable. We are done with this in Los Angeles. They're lying to us. They're stealing our money. They're giving people drugs.
If a guy like this can win this race, it's a harbinger for any blue state who's willing to stand up and just say no. So we are just about a week, just over a week from the primary election in Los Angeles that is featuring 3 candidates. Number one, we've got Karen Bass, the incumbent mayor, who was in Ghana when the Pacific Palisades were burning down. We've got Nithya Raman, who is a self-described democratic socialist who is part of the homeless industrial complex. And I had to look that up. For somebody who's been working in grassroots politics now for several years, that was a phrase I wasn't totally familiar with. And apparently it's somebody who makes money off of the thing that they say they're trying to fix, which is not an uncommon thing like racism or sexism or any other ism. So she's part of that. She's on the city council. And then we've got Spencer Pratt, who, of course, was just recently endorsed by the biggest Republican on the planet, which was President Trump. Even though Spencer Pratt is a registered Republican, he's not wanting to be claimed by the most Republican on the planet, and you kind of get why. We've got all of this going on, and you've got to wonder how this is going to turn out, what the implications are going to be, and what it really all means, not just for LA, but for the rest of the country. Because LA is ground zero for progressivism and progressive policies. What's it going to mean if a guy like Spencer Pratt kicks a woman like Karen Bass out of her seat and takes over LA and actually does all the things he says he's going to do? We're going to discuss it, and we're going to get into all of that. So we're going to start with this Spencer Pratt ad. And I bring this up because, like I said, he was endorsed by President Trump this last week. And if you're from California, like I am, my first thought when I heard that was, he's not going to want that. If you're running for mayor in Los Angeles, you're not going to want to identify with MAGA necessarily. So here's a really great ad that sort of encapsulates that.
This mayor race is really heating up. Who you guys voting for? Haven't decided? Same, haven't really been following it. Same. I'm not MAGA or anything, but the city's kind of gone to shit though, right? Oh yeah. Jessica stepped on a needle at the playground the other day. I'm not MAGA or anything though. But have you been downtown lately? Looks like an episode of The Walking Dead. Not that I'm MAGA or anything though. Spencer Pratt seems like he has some good ideas. Not that I'm MAGA or anything. He does seem really angry all the time though. Well, they did burn his house down. Also, apparently he's staying at the Bel Air Hotel, not the trailer on his property. Well, yeah. They burned his house down. Okay, we're all adults here. How about on 3, we just say who we're voting for? 1, 2, 3. Spencer Pratt. Yeah. Spencer Pratt. Can you imagine if our wives knew?
We're all voting for Spencer Pratt, right?
Of course. Obviously. I wish I could vote like yesterday.
There you go. They're trying to associate MAGA with something bad, when in reality, what they're saying essentially is, okay, if common sense is MAGA, then I'm MAGA all day long. It's not MAGA to want clean streets. It's not MAGA to not want to have to walk around human feces on the sidewalk. It's not MAGA to want to go downtown and not have to worry about being accosted by a criminal, a drug addict, a homeless person on drugs. It's not MAGA to want to be able to feel like you can go wherever you need to go in the places that you frequent and not feel like you have to be packing some kind of weapon. Why do all of those things all of a sudden embody MAGA? It's ridiculous. It's just common sense. It's not even a partisan issue. Wanting to be clean, wanting to be safe, wanting to have a place to live, wanting to have food on your table, none of those things are any political party. You would think that Democrats would want that all the same. But apparently, if you say you want those things, it's the opposite of the way things are. And who's running things? And who's been running things since 2004? Democrats. So if you say things are bad, then it means you're saying Democrats are bad. And then I guess that makes you MAGA. It's ridiculous. It's insane. So I think that even though the president has sort of tried to claim them, he was kind of like, yeah, that's okay. I don't necessarily want that. And you kind of understand where he's coming from. The reason people don't like her is because she's smug. She's just smug. She sat down with this gal from Politico. Let me bring that up. It's not likable, is my point. People like Spencer Pratt because he says what he thinks and you believe what he's saying. He's passionate about it. It's genuine. That's what's drawing people, is his genuineness. This woman is smug. Just listen to this little snippet that I have here.
The ordinance for a $30 minimum wage just last year.
Right.
So looking back now, do you think that you were too dismissive of the concerns that the business groups were raising? Or is this just an example of, the business groups playing hardball with this ballot measure and that's sort of winning the day?
No, I don't think it was dismissive. I think at the time there was concern about it. But what often happens is you pass something and then you begin to see the consequences, especially when someone says that they were going to build an extra tower on their hotel and then they decide not to do it.
I wanted to ask about another City Hall issue that has come up. Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez, who has endorsed you, he wants to explore ways to let non-citizens vote in city elections. I know that there are some cities that already do this, but politics is all about timing. With Donald Trump in the White House, is this the right time for Los Angeles to go down this path?
Well, I think we need to explore it. Now, I've not seen exactly what he's calling for. I have a little familiarity of what happens in other cities. And for example, some cities will allow people to vote in like city council and school board elections because they pay local taxes, but they are not necessarily undocumented. They might be here completely legally, but have not finished the citizenship process. So we'll wait and see. But some questioned that around sanctuary cities too. But we made that into law even though Trump had been elected, and it was because our population of immigrants who are vulnerable were terrified. And that provided a measure of security for a minute. And no one anticipated we'd have the military roll up on us.
So did you hear that? She basically is saying that it's not off the table that illegal immigrants are going to get to vote in this election. People who are not citizens of the United States will get to possibly vote in this election. So that alone should set people off. And she's going to utilize that as a benefit to herself because she's going to offer them free stuff because that's what Democrats do. That's what they do. What this ultimately will mean for essentially, this is ground zero. If a guy like this can win this race, it's a harbinger for any blue state that has one guy like Spencer Pratt who's willing to stand up and just say, no, enough. And as they say, and I hate this, but it tends to be true, as goes California, so goes the rest of the country. So if that is true, then this is good news for us. Let's just take a look at this clip.
This one, I think the bloated Karen Bass bureaucracy, for those who don't live in LA and maybe don't know the story, and some even here don't, federal prosecutors are investigating fraud and corruption around the billions of dollars earmarked to fight homelessness in Los Angeles. It's big. There's been no accountability for the wasted tax dollars. The senior living facility on Shelby Drive in Cheviot Hills, most glaring example.
That would be the homeless industrial complex that I mentioned before.
Brentwood landlord and developer Stephen Taylor bought the property in 2023 for $11 million. Immediately, he sold it to an NGO for $27.3 million, connected to him. All taxpayer dollars, all approved by Karen Bass. All you know is that is not a one-off, right? You can feel that with management oversight like this, you gotta wonder why we can't fill reservoirs, we can't clean streets, we can't plant a tree, We can't fix our infrastructure. Urban Forest says in LA, a tree inspection and trimming is recommended like every 5 years, and now we do it every 17 years. Nithya Robbins says we shouldn't have barbecues on windy days. That is not a plan. This is the type of corruption, and I wonder why. Two things. Why has this been allowed to persist? And two, have you been able to capture rage in a way that no one else has before? There's always been people pissed off about living in LA.
I hate to make the equation to President Trump again, but that's exactly what President Trump did. He got this collective rage that everybody was feeling over how things were being done in America, and he harnessed it. And he wrote it all the way to the White House, really honestly 3 times. They stole the second time, but that's what this is.
You seem to have been able to build a movement and a momentum around it that's never been seen before.
Yes, everyone is very angry because it's so expensive in LA, the cost of living, and then what are we living in? I had this lovely senior citizen lady come up to me and she said, Spencer, I'm paying for 5-star service in Los Angeles and I don't get 1 star. And it was a great, and it's just this lovely old lady. And it's how everyone feels. Everything costs so much and we live in a sewer right now. We have actual people living in the sewers, climbing out of the sewers. Their own kids are saying, please help my mom. She's having a medical psychosis episode. And she just runs off. It's on live news. They got it. And we don't even help that lady get to the medical treatment. Her own kids are saying, get our mom out of the sewer. So yeah, I think, because again, I'm not a politician. And I went in there, I never imagined, honestly, winning and being the mayor. Here we are. But I went in here just to be somebody that had a platform and a voice and to yell from the highest mountain I could get. This is unacceptable. We are done with this in Los Angeles. They're lying to us. They're stealing our money. They're giving people drugs. They're giving them needles. I know personally that people that are doing the needles are also, with our money, they're also giving them the drugs. So get ready. That's coming.
What do you have?
It'll come. But let me just tell you, my hunch that the city, who we pay for all these needles, these people are also.
You think it's NGO related?
No, they're giving them the drugs too. So not only are we paying for the needles, the people that give them the needles are also giving them drugs.
Do you have a research study going on this right now?
Just stay tuned. So he's going to pull out every piece of data, every piece of information, anything he can get to show the people, this is what these people have been doing. This is how they're handling your taxpayer money. This is what they're giving you in return. And it's garbage. It's absolute garbage. And what I'd love to see is him win, completely change Los Angeles to show that it can be done so that no other city in America who elects a person can turn around and say, yeah, it's a sewer, but there's really not a whole lot I can do. You can point to Spencer Pratt and say, but Spencer Pratt did it in Los Angeles. It's the same way. Oh, I know he doesn't like this, but it's the same way. When President Trump got elected, he did things that Republicans have been telling us that they would do for decades and decades, and then would never actually do, come back and say, sorry, you guys, doesn't really work that way. I can't do that for you. President Trump got elected in his first term. And despite the pushback he got, he was getting all of those things done. He proved it can be done if you really want to. And you can see in Spencer Pratt that he really, really does want to. And God bless him. And I'm going to be praying for him. I don't know about you. But thanks so much for being with me today. This could mean a change, not just in Los Angeles, not just in California, but across the United States, because people have had enough, and we just need enough brave people to stand up. And it's a sign of what could be coming ahead. That and Ken Paxton beating Cornyn in that primary, they are harbingers of what's to come. I don't know about you, but I'm going to enjoy the ride. Thanks so much. And I will see you again tomorrow, where we hear it's still not canceled. We question everything, especially the narrative. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.